Let's talk leveling kits and how easy or how maybe not so easy they are to install. What we're actually talking about, if you take a look here at the front wheel well of our truck, measure between the wheel well and the tire and compare it to the rear, you notice the rear is a lot taller. That's almost a 2-inch difference between front and back. And most of the kits are designed for a 2-inch leveling. That's what they call them. So we're going to basically bring the front up to match the rear. So the kit that I bought is pretty basic. Let me show you here. What I purchased here is one of these leveling kits from MotoFab. I like these ones because they're actually made out of metal, aluminum. They actually say made in the USA. I suppose some have been told they're like a composite. I'm not sure if I like that idea because all the weight of the vehicle is pressing here on those two ears. So I don't know, I think something about being aluminum sounds like a better idea. And someone puts their name on it, that makes you feel a whole lot better too. So this is the kit that I bought, pretty inexpensive for the most part. Not the cheapest, but not the most expensive, but this is what we're gonna be installing. Now, I've read the directions. This shows you taking like all kinds of things apart on a sway bar link, tie rod, ball joints, to be able to put these spacers in there. I kind of think that might be overkill, and that's what we're gonna prove. Can you really get away without having to do all that work to get that little spacer in there? So we're gonna find out. I got it all set up here in my driveway, gonna chalk the rear wheels. My driveway's on a bit of a grade, so I really don't want that thing rolling down the hill. So a little bit of a safety first, get my jack and jack stands out. We're gonna rip into this here one side at a time and see what it gets into, and I'm gonna drag you along to show you the process. Well, let's get down to what we need to get apart. Essentially, end result, we're going to be taking this loose and stacking our space between the control arm, which is here, and our modified shock, or we don't want to call that coilover, basically, system. That's fine, but in order to do that, they wanted us to replace pop the upper ball joint, take the sway bar link off, pull the hoses loose, pull the ABS sensor loose. Now, I'm not going to tell you not to follow the directions, but I'm going to tell you I don't think we need to. So what I'm going to do first, though, the suspension is completely relaxed all the way down. So the only thing holding the travel limit at this point is our coilover here. So I should be able to take those two bolts loose and nothing move whatsoever. And if that's the case, then we're going to get the Richard Pryor bar here, shove it in here, pry this thing down, see if we can't slide our spacer into place. So I'll pop these loose with our 3/8 electric impact. One, two. Well, maybe two. Okay, two. Now, that's loose from the control arm now. And for an experiment, let's just see what happens here when I push down on this. Hey, look at that. Okay, yeah, see our shock stays in place for our coilover. So, I'm going to pry that down. I might have to move the camera here, shove my spacer down there, but you get the idea. Oops. Now, see that rear cage nut is actually part of the actual shock there. I'm going to pop that off because I have a feeling we're going to have an issue here between height. So I'll tell you why when I'm done here, how I know this. Maybe. Okay. Now it's off there. Now, get my spacer. Now, since they so proudly place their name on it, so I'll make sure I orientate this the right way. Now, it sits between the control arm and our coilover like so, so I want to make sure my script isn't upside down. So I'm going to try to put it in there that way. Yeah, we'll put the pry bar maybe here instead. Oh, heck. Nice. Okay. I need a bigger bite. If I can get it underneath that bottom lip. So close. All right. get the bigger pry bar. Okay. Okay, now what I'm going to try to do, see if I can get that bolt to push through the control arm, at least the first half of our spacer here. Nope. I think I knocked that out. Try again. Here's something interesting. I've taken the sway bar thing loose. Now I can actually push up and down on this with my hand and see the gap go between the two of them now. So I think the secret is only undo the sway bar link. Then I think we can get this thing into place. So put the camera back here on the stand and have a go with it again. With the sway bar out of the way now, seriously, I can push this thing up and down a whole lot better. Almost got enough gap right now without even using a pry bar between the two of them. So let's go ahead and see if that works out for the better. Okay, pry bar. Spacer, bolt, check. Okay. I can get it through here. Oh heck! All right, cool, cool. And that lays right into place. Okay, now what I'm going to try to do, see if I can get that bolt to push through the control arm, at least the first half of our spacer here. Okay, got the bolt lined up. Snug. Now we'll get that back one to go, I hope. Okay, I want to learn you something here on this back bolt. I've got something going on. Now this back bolt comes up through here, but see how close that CV axle is to it now? This factory bolt is too long, so I'm going to stack a couple, 3, maybe 4 washers on that thing and see what that does. All right, what I've done, I've stacked 1, 2, yeah, it looks like 4 washers. Let's see if that keeps us from hitting the axle. Oh, of course, now it won't go through. We'll get a way to make it go. Okay, that keeps us clear of the axle. So I think 4 washers is the secret, but man, there's not a whole lot of room in here. Okay. And we'll snug this one up. Reattach our sway bar link here and see how this looks. All right, I went ahead and did the driver's side. I can tell from right now, this perspective, it looks a lot better. It's nice and even. But we're going to do a road test to see how much this hinders or creates a problem with the drive or ride quality. Because, I mean, I know lifting a vehicle, modifying, there's always a cost. There's pros and cons. There's going to be something not quite so great. But we're going to go for a drive and let you know what we find. All right, so how did it do? Well, it got a weird little bump, clunk, thump in the right front of the truck whenever the truck suspension dips into a hole. So I suspect something's bottoming out. Maybe that axle where it was really close or something else. We're going to pull that right front wheel back off and try this again. Back here and take that bolt back out and clearance it just because it's just too close to that CV axle to me. I didn't like it. I got the clearance now. The other ain't going to work down there, so I can't say that I'm a huge fan of these kits. All right, back from our second test drive. That took care of it. No more noise in the front, but I tell you, it kind of brings my joy or excitement of this kit down a little bit more. Not as excited as I was. It does look really good. Now check this out. Now that does actually look a whole lot better. Nice and even front to rear. All right, so did the kit work? Did it do what I wanted it to do? Yes, the answer is it did a leveling job. Front to rear looks pretty nice. Did skipping all the steps save me any time? Was it a huge time saver? I don't know. I had to wrestle that just a little bit to get in there. Still had to pop the sway bar link loose. But upon further reading the instructions, not just reading the picture, it has you orientate those bolts top down. That way they're lower profile, so it will clear the axle. So maybe you should take it all the way apart. I guess I'll kind of leave it up to you how you want to approach. As long as your fastener has full contact all the way to the nylon and it clears the axle, I don't know why it would be an issue, but technically the instructions did redeem themselves. So you should read this stuff, right? I didn't, but I did look at the pictures. But the flip side is taking everything apart. Here's just my opinion on that. Taking a ball joint nut loose, tie rod nut loose, any of those tapered seat components, you pop them loose, sometimes you can't get the nut to go back in. It may strip out. It may damage something. So even a sway bar link, I'm a little leery taking those apart because they like to break and twist off. So how I see it in my head, the less stuff you tamper with, the better off you are. Unless you want to waste more time, waste more money. I shouldn't say waste. Use more time, potentially cost you more money when there is maybe a different fix. And the other thing is, I kept the original bolts and these little retaining nuts there. Just in case I don't like this, I could easily undo this kit, put it back to factory, and not worry about it. So I'm gonna hold on to these for just a bit, and I'll let you guys know how well this system is still working out or not working out. But so far, I do like the looks of it a whole lot better. There's the ups, downs, the ins, the outs, the good, the bad, and the ugly of doing the lower control arm spacer on your Silverado, Sierra, or whatever it may be, just like this. I hope you found this helpful. Don't forget to subscribe, tune in, got a lot more stuff like this, playing with these cars, trucks, whatever it might be here at my little garage. I'm sharing with you. I'll grab the camera, we'll catch you all next time.